guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Today, I'm going to talk about, I found this old clip, and I found it while I was surfing 9gag, of all places. I have a lot of different sites I go to try to find interesting stories. And this one was posted on 9gag, a link to a Mythbusters throwback where they test whether women find men more attractive just based on their occupation, even without knowing salary, or maybe they knew no salary. I forget now. That's my dating profile. I don't want to go that far yet. So I love Mythbusters for mainly obviously the scientific studies and them looking into different things and all the testing they do. I had some coworkers and friends, although I was much younger back then, that were primarily watching the versions that had Carrie Byron in there. And I think initially, I don't know, but I think initially she was just a helper on the set, and she was attractive, and fans responded well to her because mostly men watch Mythbusters because of all the science stuff. And she became a member of the team mostly based on her looks, I believe. I have no proof of this, but I'm pretty sure this is what got her more activity on Mythbusters. Not saying I know it for sure. Maybe you can discredit me. But from episode 220, The Laws of Attraction, they had some interesting studies, and here's what they looked at. A person's intelligence deteriorates in the presence of members of the opposite gender, which we know is, well, at least they say here is wrong, but we know that's a stereotype of the beautiful woman walking in a room and the guy going, yeah, Bob, and another, doesn't happen. Yes, they may look. Yes, they may pause for a moment, but they didn't really find any big study showing that people are not as bright as they normally are, going against stereotypes. Men are more strongly attracted to blonde women than those of other hair colors. Nope, don't care. Pheromone sprays can increase a person's attractiveness. Nope. But in the service industry, women with larger bobs tend to receive higher tips. That is confirmed, of course. So men don't care if she's blonde or brunette, only that she's got a nice set on her. And here's the one we're going to talk about today. Women are more attracted to financially successful men, they say, confirmed. So a lot of times, when we bring up hypergamy and some of the attraction traits for men versus women, a lot of times, content creators like myself or men's spheres are made fun of, but they scientifically tested it. And I've got a video to play. And I have to break this up because the YouTube police will come at me and say that I'm I don't know, stealing content or monetizing something that's not mine. And then when I argue back against them, that can take several days. And I'd like to get these videos out in good time order. But we're going to get started here, and they're going to explain the test, and then we'll talk about it.
Does wealth really woo women?
All right, how are we going to test this?
All right, so let's get a...
And let me just pause right here. And I think is it Grant Imahara, I think is pronounced? Great guy, really smart engineer that ended up passing away. He was probably one of my favorite guys on the show. I really, really liked his work.
What's this?
All right, so let's get a group of women and ask them to rate a man's attractiveness. But the only identifiers we give them are name and occupation.
That's great. And then we'll show the exact same pictures to another group of women, but this time changing the men's occupations with higher salaries and see if that increases their allure.
I like it.
Let me pause here. First of all, this is pretty much what Tinder does. Tinder has a photo and in many cases an occupation. Now, I can tell you 100% confirmed in my own personal life that when I was using Tinder I was a network engineer, and I did have the company that I worked for on the profile. I did pretty decent in getting good matches. When I changed it to semi-retired traveler around the world, it went to zero. Like no one, even if you were successfully retired, I guess at my age, not many would say I'm semi-retired. So I think they looked at me as a bum, even though I had pictures of me doing some travels and things like that. Now, interestingly, depending on the country I was in, I got different responses. So when I would, I I did pay a little extra to Tinder so I could set my profile city in different locations. So I would set it in a city that I was traveling to in 3 or 4 days. And that way I could maybe get some matches, talk to them a little bit, see if I wanted to meet up with them. And initially I didn't do this 3-4 days ahead of time. I did it the day I was arriving or when I got there. But what I found, depending on the city, depending on the country, is number one, a lot of when I was traveling abroad, a lot of places did like that I was American. Number two, a lot of them did like the fact that I was semi-retired and I was a traveler and I was kind of seeing the world. But one thing when you, I almost said get an interview, but it kind of is. One thing when you talk to women on Tinder, at least here in the United States, I can 100% confirm this. One of the first questions they often ask, a lot of times they'll do the how tall are you, but they'll say, what do you do for a living? And it's almost one of the first questions. And to a woman, that will show drive, career, success, intelligence, income, education. It can sum up a lot of different things about a man. What's interesting, though, is, and I know this for sure, is that in Iceland, and you guys may have a different reaction. Again, this is American. I had American traveling abroad in my profile. So I'm not saying that you guys would have the same luck or anything. And this is also going back, 5 years ago now. One thing that I noticed is when I was meeting like Germans in Australia, they were also travelers. When I was meeting, say, I'm trying to think of some of the other nationalities, like a Thai woman that was in Iceland, which was kind of an interesting meetup. Whenever I'd meet somebody that was from a different country in the country I was in, they never really cared what I did for a living. They were really interested in my travels and what I did and how fun it was and how exciting it was to get out and see the world. When I met retired companies, or retired people, same thing. They never asked what I did for a job or used to do what I did for a job. Same thing when I met most guys. Some guys would be like, dude, how can you afford this at your age? But women, surprisingly, asked less overseas than they did in the United States about my income. And again, that may be due to traveling or being American or something like that. So I just thought I'd put that out there, that women definitely do ask right up front, what do you do for a living? How do you make your money? And this is an indicator of attraction.
So to test our laws of attraction myth that women are more attracted to wealthy men, we've come to the Roxy Theater in San Francisco, California.
Welcome to the Mythbusters Laws of Attraction Experiment.
We're going to show 2 sets of 50 women.
Let me just pause here. If for some reason that part is silenced, that means that the background music they played was copyright, and I got hit with a copyright strike.
We're going to show 2 sets of 50 women, 12 pictures of various men, and ask them to rate the men on their attractiveness on a scale of 1 to 10.
10 being the highest score for super duper hot.
Now, each of these photos will have a name, an occupation, and where the person lives.
Now, I do want to interrupt here and say you'll notice, so they say it has a name, it has where he lives, and it has their job status here. And I'm going to cut this little part out because it plays on longer than it needs to. But you can see, like this is a Matt. He's barista in San Francisco, so obviously he has a degree in gender studies. This is Martin. He's customer service retail, Oakland, California. And so these are all Californian men, but they're 250 women. I guess 125 on the first shot with their real occupations, 125 on their second shot with their fake occupations. And when you look at these photos of these guys, these are not lookers, right? These are not great looking guys. No, no offense, but they're certainly your average everyday guys that you would meet. And so Carrie goes on to explain, what the deal is, and they go through, and I'm going to get to the point where they have the ratings here. So group one with their actual real jobs rated 56 out of 120. Now this is key, okay? This is key. That means that the average men's score, remember this is on a score of 1 to 10, all these men, an average score would be 60 because it's the average looking guy is a 5, right? Well, the men came in slightly lower than average. So, and we've talked about this in the Tinder study, or not Tinder, OkCupid, I think it was, where most women find most men less attractive than average, even though mathematically that doesn't work that way. Now, this one's a lot closer to average because this is not on a dating app. Many of these women might be off the market, married, older, younger, and like, a 22-year-old looking at a 45-year-old guy, she may say, well, I'm not looking at him as a dating prospect, but based on my objectivity, I think he's a blank, right? So that's group one with their real jobs. And now they changed the barista to an orthodontist, customer service retail to a vascular surgeon. He kind of, to me, this photo looks like something that you would get done by a professional. So he, like, I could see this as a poster in the doctor's office. And again, they take a child care provider and turn him into an investment banker. And so I'm cutting this out so I don't have to deal with the strike. Here's a dental assistant to cardiologist. We'll see the results.
This is Michael. He's a cardiologist from Mill Valley, California.
And fat cat paychecks.
So we had 12 guys. We changed 6 of them to higher paying salaries, and that resulted in a plus 23% increase in their attractiveness score.
Now, let me pause this. Notice they said they have 12 guys, and they increased 6 of them. So I think, now, correct me if I'm wrong, I think, though, that out of the 12, they all had the original occupations. And then second group, only 6 of the 12 occupations did they change. So had they changed all of them, the score would probably be even higher, unless I'm misunderstanding something. But we'll listen.
We changed 6 of them to higher paying salaries, and that
Let me rewind to where we can
And
hear
fat cat
6 of 12.
paychecks.
So we had 12 guys. We changed 6 of them to higher paying salaries, and that resulted in a plus 23% increase in their attractiveness score.
Confirmed.
It's confirmed. And in particular, Martin, our retail clerk turned vascular surgeon, plus 32%. And Ian, our mortgage broker turned venture capitalist, plus 76%.
Let's pause that right there for a second. I'm going to pull it back to that little graph that they had. Now, so again, I think they showed all 12 to both sets of women, and on 6 of them in the latter one they changed. But here's the findings, right? So the percentage change on the second time that they changed their profession, if that makes sense, change profession, here's the percentage of improvement the guys got from lowest to highest. One guy was 0, and he went from a something manager, I can't see what it is, to a patent attorney. Maybe a lot of people don't like attorneys, but you got plus 16, plus 16, plus 18, plus 32, and plus 76 going from a mortgage broker to a venture capitalist. Now, ventures capitalists, obviously, that's probably a guy that's worth several million. But 76% increase. I mean, you're creeping up on almost doubling, but all these guys got at least a 15% boost in their attractiveness. And this is one of the things a lot of times when I hear content creators that talk about, okay, guys, have some game and be slick at pickup and learn how to talk to women and be in good shape. That's going to get you, I mean, they are correct that that's going to get you a long ways. If you can joke and be comfortable in your own skin and laugh about it and have fun conversations, make the women laugh, make them feel comfortable with you, you're in good shape. That's a big portion of it. But this shows you that even if you have all those qualities that may make a woman attracted to you and maybe want to sleep with you, but it doesn't mean she wants to keep you around. It doesn't mean that that necessarily she'll want to date you. And increasing these, that's a pretty hefty upswing, which just goes to show you that no matter what you do, you are going to be judged on what you bring to the table and what you can provide. And I mean, they're confirming this. I mean, it's very clear they're confirming it.
76%.
You know what I really liked about this myth is that at first I was just like, ew, this is such an awful, shallow cliche. But then when you break it down, bigger breasts represent fertility. Men are attracted to that. Wealth is just an indicator of being a good provider, like a lioness will pick the biggest, strongest lion, the leader of the pride. There's a reason for the cliche. It's biology.
Confirmed, both of them. The myths.
I like the fact, what I like about this I'm glad she said it versus one of the guys. I'm glad she said it. She's even admitting as a woman that it was a kind of a gross sounding study when she first heard of it, because that's how a lot of women react to when we say the things we say. But after the study, she has to admit, hey, you know what? Guys like big bobs and waist to hip ratio because it shows fertility and that's attractive to men. That's biology. That's the lizard brain talking. So as much as they come out and they say, oh, you must appreciate me for my curves, no, that's really not how it works. That'd be like me coming out as a 5'6" bald dude and saying, hey, you need to appreciate me for my intelligence and my, I don't know, my sense of humor. Women will be like, yeah, no, not so much, champ. I mean, maybe some, but the whole point is that when a woman sees a man that would be a better provider, her kids might be able to go to a better paid school or private schooling, get a better education that will give them a leg up in the world that they're going to be encountering. They'll have a bigger home. They'll live in a nicer neighborhood with nicer schools. Again, this may not be in the forefront of a woman's mind. And maybe younger women today say, flashy car, more social validation for me. I can get my picture taken in front of a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or on a trip to Paris on a private jet. Maybe that's the way the younger generation looks at it, which is instead of having a better lifestyle for the kids, it's a better lifestyle for her. So that's, again, all lizard brain things. I think it's fascinating that at least Carrie in this circumstance is admitting it. And that while it was gross at first, yeah, women want men that are going to provide them with an easy life, and men want hot women. And that's just still the way it is. And if you go back to this old Mythbusters, it kind of confirms it, and I think that's cool. Guys, if you're over on YouTube, make sure to join me over here on Locals, on betterbachelor.locals.com for the dating profiles of the day. Also, for those of you that have stuck in here this long, a lot of people, I've been getting some emails wanting to know how I feel about the new court ruling on Roe versus Wade and some of those things. That's more political. And you know something? Politics is infusing its veins into everything. And me as a person, when I get on YouTube, I like to watch my favorite content creators without it all going, because it's all politics all the time and everything. And that's why I stay away from that stuff in this content. If you want to see my political thoughts and my posts and my videos and stuff like that I do on it, it's called an Odd Man Out segment. I'm due for another one that I'm going to be doing on Locals. So make sure to join me on betterbachelor.locals.com, and that's where you'll get my political hot takes and thoughts on all the relevance. And that way we're not mixing oil and water.